Hello, I'm Sally, I'm from Plush Folly, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a range of cosmetics from home. Today we're going to be making soap from scratch. I'm going to be using the cold process method. This is a nice easy way of making soap, but you do have to be patient because it takes 4 weeks for the soap to harden up and be ready for use. We'll start by making up a solution called our lye solution, which is where we mix the sodium hydroxide and the water together in carefully measured quantities. I'm going to start by weighing the water. There we are, absolutely spot on. I'll just move that out of the way while I deal with the sodium hydroxide. The amount of sodium hydroxide I need is 70 grams, so very carefully we'll weigh 70 grams into the bowl. Now this is cold water, but by the time I put the sodium hydroxide in and mix it, it's going to heat up and you may see some of the steam. So literally just pour that in, and then I need to stir to make sure that all the little sodium hydroxide granules are dissolved into the water. That is now very hot. If I put my hand underneath, that would be too hot for bath water, even for me. I'm just going to pop that to one side, out of the way, while we put our oils into our saucepan, as we need those to melt. Now I've already weighed these, but I can tell you what I've got. We have 128 grams of coconut oil, straight in. We have 85 grams of palm oil, and then finally 30 grams of shea butter. And I'm just going to put the saucepan onto the heat so that these hard oils will melt and be as liquid as the olive oil. So our butters and oils have melted. We're going to add the olive oil now. The reason I didn't add the olive oil is it doesn't need melting, it's already a liquid, and that will help cool this liquid down, ready for the lye. I'm just going to pour a tiny bit of lye into the saucepan in case there's any reaction. Sometimes if these are too hot they might start fizzing, but there's no reaction in there at all, so I can pour all the lye into my oils. And I give it a stir around. Now depending on the heat of the oils, the heat of the air and the heat of the lye, the amount of time I need to spend stirring could be anything from a few minutes to, well, a couple of days really. So I'm going to speed the process up by using a handheld blender. I'm stirring until the soap mixture gets a lot thicker. It'll be a little like custard, and we call that a light trace. I'll show you when I'm ready. Right, I think that looks like it's ready. So you can see it looks remarkably like custard. And when I drizzle a little bit across the surface, it sits on the surface before sinking in. So I can see where the trail is. That's what we call a light trace. The mould I'm using for this soap is just a plastic sandwich tub, and I've lined this with plastic, which will make it much easier to come out. The pegs are just holding the lining in place. The essential oil blend I've chosen is lavender and rosemary. I've got about 14 grams in total here, and I've done half and half. So I'm just going to pop that in and give it a stir around to make sure it's completely mixed in. I'm just going to take a little bit of this soap mixture because I'm going to do something clever with some colour, I hope. But the rest of it I am going to pour straight into the mould, and I can remove the pegs now. I've used some blue colouring, some blue soap colouring called ultramarine, and I'm just going to put little stripes of blue across the top surface of my soap. Taking my wooden stick, I'm just going to flick lines through it. Rather like, I think, a cream slice that you buy in the bakery. Now this soap is the cold process soap, so I have to tuck it away now for 24 hours, and I'm going to put 2 or 3 towels over the top of it to keep it insulated, and I'm going to leave it like that for 24 hours. After 24 hours, I will take it away from the blankets and then just leave it somewhere for 3 or 4 weeks to set very hard. Here's a soap I made 4 weeks ago. It's been sitting, curing, getting harder and harder, and now it's ready for me to cut. And that's how to make soap from scratch.